We use it every single day, but have you ever really stopped to ask the most basic question? What is money really? I'm not talking about where to get it or how to spend it, but what is the stuff itself? Well, that's what we're going to figure out. So you tap your phone and a soda is yours. It feels so simple, almost like magic, doesn't it? But that one little tap is actually the final scene in a story that's thousands of years old. And that's the real key. Money isn't just a thing, it's an idea. You can think of it like a piece of social technology that completely rewired how all of us cooperate. And to really get it, we need to imagine what the world was like before money existed. To really appreciate why money was such a game-changing invention, we first have to understand the massive problem it was created to solve. Okay, so picture this. You're a baker, and you make amazing bread. Best in the village. But your shoes are completely falling apart. In a world with no money, your only option is to go find someone who has shoes and trade your bread for them. This whole system is called barter. And here's where you hit a wall. The shoemaker, he doesn't want your bread. He needs a goat. So all of a sudden, your delicious bread is totally useless to him. Economists have a name for this. It's the coincidence of wants problem. It basically means that for any trade to work, you can't just find someone who has what you want. They also have to want exactly what you have at the exact same time. And you can see how the problems just pile up super fast. Now you have to go find a goat herder who just so happens to be craving bread. And then you have to haggle. Is a pair of shoes worth a whole goat? Maybe half a goat? How do you even make change for half a goat? It's just messy, it's confusing, and it seriously slows down an entire economy. So yeah, humanity needed a better system. We needed a workaround for the goat problem. And what we came up with was basically our first really great piece of financial technology. And you can kind of see how the whole idea evolved right here. We started with things that were valuable all on their own, like cows or grain. But, you can't exactly carry a cow around in your pocket. So we shifted to stuff that was easier to carry and kind of rare, like seashells. Then came a major upgrade, metal coins. They were durable, you could divide them up easily, and they were standardized. And then we took the biggest leap of all, paper. The paper itself wasn't valuable, but it represented a promise of value. And that, right there, is the magic of a medium of exchange. The baker can just sell his breath for coins to literally anyone. He then takes those coins to the shoemaker, who can then turn around and use those very same coins to go buy his goat. Boom, problem solved. Money just became the universal middleman. But the story didn't stop there. Oh no. The next leap was the biggest one yet, taking us from money that had value to money that's based on something you can't even see or touch. Trust. Just look at this comparison. On one side, you've got something like a gold coin. It's valuable because, well, it's made of gold. You could melt it down and the gold itself is still worth something. But on the other side, you've got a modern $20 bill. The paper and ink, worth pennies, if that. So, why do we all agree that it's worth $20? The answer is this really powerful concept called fiat money. Fiat is just Latin for let it be done, and what it means is this is money that has value simply because the government says it does. Its worth isn't in the actual paper, it's in our collective faith that the government behind it is stable and will honor that value. Seriously, think about that. The dollar in your pocket, the yen in Tokyo, the euro in Paris, they are all part of this massive global trust exercise. We only accept them as payment because we are 100% confident that someone else will accept them from us. It's an incredibly powerful shared belief. So why does this agreement actually hold up? Why can't I just go print Bob's bucks in my basement and become a millionaire? Well, it really comes down to two things. A government guarantees its value. You have to pay taxes with it, for example. And, maybe more importantly, they control the supply. That makes it scarce, and that makes it valuable. My homemade money has neither of those things going for it. So, this abstract idea of a shared belief is exactly what makes the next step in the story possible, taking money off of paper and putting it onto our screens. When you tap your phone to pay for that soda, you're not actually moving around paper or metal. You're just changing numbers in a bank's computer system. The money is purely digital. But it works for the exact same reason that paper money does, because we all trust that those little numbers on the screen represent real-world buying power. And this table really helps break down how those rules apply in the digital world. The US dollar? Easy. It's backed by the US government, accepted almost everywhere. Now look at something like V-Bucks. It's backed by a company, Epic Games, and you can only accept it inside Fortnite. It acts like money, sure, but only inside a tiny, closed-off world. Then you've got something totally new, like Bitcoin. It isn't backed by a government or a company. It's backed by a decentralized network of computers all following the same rules. That is a huge shift. And where can you use it? Well, that list is growing, but it's still nowhere near universal. So that brings us to a really fascinating question. Based on everything we've just learned about trust and acceptance and control, does something like Bitcoin actually count as real money? There's no easy answer, and it's something people are fiercely debating right now. What do you think?
Okay, so let's bring it all home. We've gone from trading goats to tapping phones. What's the big takeaway from all this?
Well, when you strip everything else away, anything we call money really has to do three basic jobs. First, it has to be a medium of exchange, so we can solve that whole barter problem. Second, it needs to act as a store of value, so you can save it up for later. And third, it's our shared belief. It's the common ruler we all use to measure the value of everything from a loaf of bread to a new car. And that's probably the single most important thing to remember. Money isn't a force of nature like gravity. We didn't discover it, we invented it. It's a tool, and like any tool, its power comes from our collective agreement to trust it and use it. And that is why this all matters to you. This isn't just some abstract history lesson. Understanding that money is a system, one that's built on rules and on trust, is the absolute first step to being able to use that tool effectively in your own life. Which leads us to one final, really interesting thought. If this entire global system is just a tool, just an idea that we all collectively created and that we maintain together, from cryptocurrencies to new forms of digital cash, the story of money is far from over. The next chapter is going to be written by our answers to that very question. What do we want this powerful tool to do for us next? Thanks for watching.